Hey everybody, welcome again to another episode of Just for Fun Games. I'm your host, Azzy. With me again, as always, is my friend Nicholas Murga, otherwise known as Roy. And today we are going to be talking about Loki episode 4, the Nexus event. I remember the name.
Yay! Because I gave
Hey,
it to you ahead of
accomplishments. Give
time.
me, give me some like confetti.
I mean, I did
Anyway,
give you the thumbnail for the video ahead of time, so you could be like, "Oh, okay, Nexus event."
I want that like soundbite of the kids going, "Yay!"
No, I gave you the Doug. I gave you the Doug last week. Okay, you took my Doug moment.
All right. Now before before this episode came out in an interview, Tom Hiddleston teased the idea that this was going to be the turning point episode where this show became something else entirely. So lots of expectation. Now, where we left off, which I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm very excited because I absolutely loved this episode. General warning: we are not articulate or reserved enough in order to talk about this episode without spoiling some things. So if you haven't seen the episode, please by all means get somebody's Disney Plus login information. Watch the episode for yourself, or spend the money. I mean, be capitalism. Watch the episode, figure out how you like about it, come back and watch us numbnuts talk about the show. Okay, so this has been your spoiler warning. Thank you. Where we left off, Selphie and Loki were attempting to evacuate Lamentus, the planet that Loki accidentally marooned them on, when all of their hopes were dashed, and they kind of resigned themselves to their fate. This world was going to be destroyed, and they were going to die along with it. Now, granted, there are 2 more episodes left of this show called Loki, so obviously something had to happen. And I said the last time that they were going to be saved by the TVA.
Weak, man. I'm sorry, man. That was a little cop out moment, man. I was hoping some other.
No. See, I expected it to happen because it was the only solution that made sense. It's not like, because I actually, like, in the moment, I actually thought about it. It's like, what are some other ways Loki could somehow like pull an escape? He does know magic. What about making like a gateway, like one of the sorcerers trained by the Ancient Ones? Like, no, they can't do that without an artifact called a sling ring. It's that thing that's on their hands. So there's no way Loki could conceivably do it. But nonetheless,
Got some of the Bifrost.
The question was how. The question was, how are the TVA going to find them? Because the notion of them randomly jumping into different apocalypses, that's an infinite variable. It would also be impossible. So how would they find them in order to save them? So we get Loki and Sylvie that are just like watching the sky falling down on them, and they have this moment where Sylvie is kind of like, is it just a part of being a Loki that we're just meant to lose? And our Loki responds, yeah, we lose. Sometimes we lose, and sometimes we go down, but we don't die. We figure out how to survive. And it's in that moment that like there's like they hold hands and they're resigning themselves to their fate, when out of nowhere, this act of them trying to comfort each other causes a unbelievable spike in the sacred timeline, something that neither Mobius nor Hunter B-15 had ever seen before, something that was like shooting straight up as opposed to like the typical angles that we had seen in all the other times.
Boner.
And this allowed them to locate, right? Basically. And this allowed the TVA in order to locate them, and they opened up 2 doors, giving them the opportunity to get out. And the peanut gallery with the people that I was watching, one of them was like, they didn't have to take the doors, like they would have died.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just saying they didn't have to.
I mean, in the show, roll credits. All right.
Right. So they're in the custody of the TVA. You see that slow-mo entrance that we kind of got from the mid-season trailer, where Sylvie is being flanked by 4 soldiers and Loki's only getting held by 2. It's like, this is some bullshit. It's like, I deserve more security. That's
Yeah, pretty much.
ridiculous. And again, we get this idea that while Mobius has been trying to work Loki in order to achieve his ends, he also like when Loki figured out where Sylvie was hiding, Mobius felt that kind of bond that finally this Loki was achieving the sort of thing that Mobius thought that he could, and he felt betrayed. He felt that there was the beginnings of a friendship here, and our Loki squandered it just like he always would. I've been proven right, or I've been proven wrong. You're incapable of changing, or something along those lines. And he throws it in our Loki's face before throwing his face into a doorway that puts him face to face with someone I didn't think we'd see anymore.
Sif.
We get Lady Sif back. Oh, Lady Sif played by, I'm going to have to be reminded, Jamie Alexander.
Okay.
Jamie Alexander. Once upon a time, she was the actress who played Lady Sif in the first 2 Thor movies, but she was unable to appear in Thor Ragnarok because of scheduling difficulties. She had a show going at the time, and there were conflicts of contracts, so she wasn't able to appear. Which might have been the only thing that saved her, seeing how everyone else died.
Yeah, I was about to say, everybody was getting murked by Hela. It's like Lady Sif was on vacation.
I'm really curious. It would have been sad. It would have been sad because it was Lady Sif and the Warriors 3. Lady Sif was very standout in that like supporting crowd for Thor. But what I loved of it as a mythology buff is that story is actually canonical with the source material. I'm not talking like it's happened in the comics where like the really classic evil conniving Loki cut off Sif's hair, but in the actual mythology, Loki gets drunk and cuts off Sif's hair, and it's because of that Mjolnir is created in the first place. That's the inciting event. Yes. That's
you
cut
off her hair and you made his hammer of destruction.
No. See, this is a whole side tangent. Basically, long story short, Loki, in a drunken prank, cuts off Sif's hair, and in the actual mythology, Lady Sif is Thor's wife. Thor wakes up and rolls over to see his beautiful wife, only to realize that she's bald, and he immediately knew who did it. So he went and he threatened Loki's life, and he basically said that he was going to break every bone in Loki's body. So Loki immediately said, like, I can fix it, okay? I mean, I can't regrow it, but I can figure something out. And in order to get the dwarves to make Lady Sif hair, like artificial hair, essentially the first mythological weave. I can't think of any other mythology that's about replacing hair. It's the one and only mythological weave. In order to get the dwarves to do it for free, because the dwarves wouldn't do anything for him anyway, he tricks them into thinking that it's a competition between 2 sets of dwarven smiths in order to make treasures for the Asgardian gods. And these guys, if you don't recognize this,
what do you just have them on your desk for this episode?
I do.
I'm about to say I don't even know where mine are.
I always have them on my desk. This is Brock. This is Brock. Brock and Sindri. These are the characters from the recent God of War game. They're the dwarves from Norse mythology that made Mjolnir. In order to get them to sign up for the contest, because the other 2 dwarves immediately agreed, but in order to get them to sign up for the contest, they only agreed if they won, they would be able to kill Loki, cut off his head, and turn it into a music box. So it's only through this competition that Mjolnir was made, and Lady Sif got a new head full of golden, technically metallic hair. Like her hair was golden in like the artistic sense, but after this that her replacement weave was literally gold. Anyway,
long story
short, I'm sorry, massive sidetrack. It's just really funny for me because when I saw it, I was like, that actually happened. But still, Loki gets locked into what they called a time prison.
It was just a time
that forced him. Yeah, it forces him to relive one of his worst memories, which I think Mobius picked specifically because it involved him getting kneed in the balls and punched in the face over and over again. Uh, but um, through it, we got this poignant moment where once again Loki has to figure out, actually ask the bigger questions, like why did I do that to Sif? And he goes like, please, please, Sif, because this isn't while it's not the real Sif, it's a facsimile based on her. So everything about her is Lady Sif, and Loki's actually able to quell her in one of these reoccurrences by admitting that the reason why he cut off her hair was because he's desperate for attention, because he's a narcissist. And deep down, he craves that attention because he's scared that he'll be alone. And what gets me is that like it's tragic, it's heartbreaking, but Sif is still pissed. So even though she helps him up off the ground, she goes, "You are going to be alone," and then just walks off. It's just like every time Loki gets even somewhat close to the concept of inner peace and happiness, someone kicks his knees out from under him. That's the ongoing theme. It's and something else I wanted to it's something else I want to touch on as we get further into the episode. So Mobius pulls him out of the cage and starts probing him, doing and playing the kind of the chess to how he describes it, the chess to Loki's checkers, as he's trying to figure out what Loki meant when they first captured him, and he said that they're all being that the timekeepers have been lying to them, and Loki doesn't want to give up that information because he feels quite confident that the moment he does, he's just going to get pruned, and at this point, maybe he doesn't entirely trust that Mobius is going to believe him. So it's this back and forth sort of thing where Loki tries to come up with like 3 different stories, and Mobius isn't having any of it. So when he finally so what finally tips Loki over the edge is when Mobius alludes to the notion that Sylvie had been pruned.
It's like what?
And that's when the music drops. That's when the facade drops. And you get this moment where Loki, he can't maintain the act at that point. And I love seeing Owen Wilson being this manipulative of a character who tends to be manipulative. Like what he was trying to get out of
You
Loki
like
was
her.
like what was the cause?
You like her.
What he was trying to get out of Loki was the cause of
the Nexus
the
event.
cause of the Nexus event that allowed them to find them despite the fact that they were in the presence of an apocalypse. In the previous episode, we learned it shouldn't matter what you do in the presence of an apocalypse because everything dies. So there's never any variant energy, or is that what they call it?
I don't know. I don't remember.
So eyeing his reaction to learning that Sylvie has died, Mobius puts it together. It's like Roy just went, like, you like her, and he tries to minimize this. He tries to label this as narcissism. He keeps calling her Loki's girlfriend, even though Loki's like very adamant that it's not the case, and not in the sort of way like I'm embarrassed about my feelings. But then as Loki's trying to defend himself, and it felt like a courtroom drama, right? Because as Loki's trying to defend himself, he's trying to clarify as Mobius just keeps running the gambit of the conversation and not allowing him to respond. Loki breaks. He's like, "You're all variants, all of you. You were created by the Timekeepers. You were stolen, and your lives were erased." And it's a funny comparison to the last time Loki really the first time Loki really tried to sell Mobius on a story, and Mobius was able to see through it and that it was a lie. But in this instance, the one guy who's always been able to call out when Loki is lying lies to himself and ignores everything that Loki says, and through him back into the time prison. And we get several scenes throughout this episode where Mobius is conferring with Ravana, the judge, about wanting to interview the TVA agent that Sylvie had originally captured, the one that kept saying it's all real. And she kept being obviously shady the entire time. But then we also got to see Hunter B-15 was also acting really weird.
Asking, did the variant say anything? Always asking about what the other Loki had said, like.
And at that point, Mobius wasn't sold yet, and he told her something that just fed the paranoia that she was trying to keep buried. He said the timekeepers lied to us, and he kind of trails off and still acting like Loki bullshit. And then we get a Hunter B-15 who's looking at this poster that looked like Andrew Ryan from BioShock. Was I the other one who thought that? Like, I saw that sign, and it was a propaganda poster about making sure you got every variant. And she's looking at it, and you can see the conflicted emotions there. And I'm looking at that poster, and I'm like, a man chooses, a slave obeys, which actually would also be very relevant to the situation, right? So then,
anyway,
as the episode continues on, Hunter B-15 acts on what she's feeling, and then immediately, like, she turns on her stick, and she walks up to the room where they were keeping Sylvie, and says, "I need to see her. Let me in." She steps in, and she's like, and immediately, like, your first thought is like, oh, so she's going to act out in aggression to try and suppress all the confusion that she's feeling. And Sylvie is expecting this because her entire life has been strife. So she just squares up. All right, okay. What do you want? What do you want? And then, as in a change of pace, she put B-15 puts the staff away, pulls out her temp pad, opens the door, says, "Come with me." But I need to stop right here, because the next scene involving Sylvie and B-15 was the first time, but not the last time. The first time in this episode that broke me.
What are we talking about?
So,
I was like,
Sylvie follows TVA agent B-15 or Hunter B-15 through the time door, and they're outside Rocksmart, just like where they found her. Heavy rain, it's still storming, this place is about to be destroyed. She brings her to a place where they couldn't be found. And again, Sylvie's still in the defensive, and she figures, oh, you want to have a fair what's this? You want to have a fair fight? Okay, fine, bring it. And then B-15 asks the questions that she needs to ask, and she says, "What was it that you did to me? What were those things that you showed me?"
Those visions.
And Sylvie's honest. Sylvie's honest. She says,
"I didn't make those up. I can only show you what was already there." Something along those lines.
Lies. I was created by the timekeepers. It's like, no, you weren't. You had a life. You had a family, and they took it from you. And then she drops it as like your variant. She confirms the thing that B-15 already knew and feared. And she says, "Show me."
And I was happy.
This woman is such a good actress. She doesn't need to do a lot. I've seen other people making comparisons to Blade Runner, with the one guy in the rain, making a callback to that scene. I sadly have yet to see the original Blade Runner, but
you gotta watch Blade Runner.
I know it's just a really long movie.
Pause. We're pausing this right now. Well, I'm not pausing it, but I'm gonna go right in the mic. We're doing a Blade Runner review. You're gonna watch this fucking movie. You're gonna love it.
All right. I mean, I love Ghost in the Shell.
First one. Oh man, it's way different than Ghost in the Shell.
I'm gonna butcher her name, but I wanna. I'm not talking about Ghost in the Shell, the movie. I'm talking about the series.
Okay. Anyway, I'm about to say.
I want to make sure I put out her name, and I feel like we've mentioned her name in previous episodes. and I'm gonna butcher it. I'm very sorry. Wunmi Mosaku.
That's the name of the
She,
actress.
yes, that's the name of
Okay.
the actress of Hunter B-15. I originally was, and I'm going to repeat the same thing I said the last time. I know I said this the last time. I was introduced to her in HBO's Lovecraft Country. I thought she was an amazing actress then, and in this one scene, you would think what we could have gotten was even just flashes of whatever the hell Sylvie was showing her, whatever memory she was getting of her past life, but we didn't. We didn't need to. This was that would have been telling as opposed to just showing. Or no, that would be showing it whatever. I lost the analogy. But the point is that we didn't have to see that kind of detail. It wasn't necessary. It didn't matter what the memory was. You could tell what the memory was from her fucking face, from the way she was breathing and how she had to catch her breath, and then how her voice broke. I looked happy.
Mm.
Oh,
All right, we're gonna go ahead and
she
speed
got a
this.
glimpse.
We're gonna go ahead and speed this up.
I know. You can cut it. It's just thinking about it. It's hard because like I can already feel the emotions welling up back up in me because like that was just such a good scene, and the notion that people was like, but I wanted to see it. What was it? It's like you didn't need to fucking see it. You saw it on her face.
So yeah. Anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and speed it up.
IGN.
Yeah, we're gonna speed it up. Of course, Mobius and Ravana is what her name is.
Mobius is in Ravana's office, and they're capping off the case by having Mobius sign off on the paperwork in order to prune Loki, of which it's been ordained that the Lokis would be pruned in the presence of the timekeepers. So Mobius would actually get what he wants. He'd finally get to meet the timekeepers that he teased Loki about over the course of this series, but had never actually met. But it's at this point that for like the third time in this one episode, Mobius once again prods at Ravana about why didn't you let me interview Hunter C-20, the one that Sylvie had originally captured, the one earlier in the episode that Ravana, while trying to dodge the question, finally admitted that she was killed because the variant had like poisoned her or tampered with her.
But however,
mind had spiraled to pieces.
Yeah. So anyway, further moving on. Mobius.
I'm taking way too long. You wanted this video to be shorter.
I'm
sorry.
I'm trying to get this motherfucker rolling because we didn't even hit the good parts, really. So Mobius takes.
I thought we did.
Yeah, apparently you did. Mobius takes Ravana's time pad little thing and sees the interview with C-20, and basically C-20 is like, we're all basically telling we're all variants, and Ravana over there in the corner of the video like this.
No, it's just like it was a video of the debrief for C-20, and she was saying it wasn't an illusion, it was a memory. I had been there. I remember that bar. I had friends. I lived on Earth during the sacred timeline. We're all variants. And then Ravana did that face, which you did perfectly, man. Thank you. That was great. I was wondering what you were doing.
I was trying to get on there, but
But again, Owen Wilson, like if I will curse the name of anyone who tells me that Owen Wilson can't fucking act or that he's only good for comedies, because he looked visibly sick after seeing that. Like the notion he had to accept that truth that he wanted to deny in Loki's face.
Yeah, so basically he goes and gets Loki out of that time loop situation, and then right when he comes out, guess who's there? Ravana.
Hold on. I know you try to speed through this, but you're running through a lot of emotional tension. He storms to the. I know. I'm sorry. You're trying to make this short.
Just tell me what you tell me.
You can cut this bickering. You can cut this bickering. He comes in there and he's Mobius is disheveled. He's like, his heart is racing. He's like, do you actually care about her? And immediately Loki's on the defensive because he thinks he's going to get attacked again for how he feels about Sylvie, which isn't necessarily clear. but it's actually because Mobius. I keep fighting back calling him Owen Wilson rather than Mobius. But Mobius actually thinks that that is the key to tearing down the TVAs, like whatever their feelings were at the time. Um, it caused an event unlike anything. Uh, so when he finally gets Loki to admit that there is something there, he's like, "Good. Can we trust each other? You were right. I'm sorry." And the line that I like the best is like, as he's about to leave, he turns around and is like, "You can be a good person, and to hell to who anyone who would ever says differently." Just in case if somebody else had ever said that to you. Because remember, he had that speech in the second episode where he basically shut down Loki, any potentiality for Loki to change as a person, saying it's like, no, you are who you are, and what you are is a piece of shit that's supposed to lose so other people can be better. That's all you are. And I love the turnaround where he's effectively giving the best kind of apology he can to a guy who he actually like he believed himself superior to, and he did not give a fair shake. That was the olive branch, and I loved it. And the smile that Loki gave him, it felt so goddamn good to immediately be cut down. This was the second time the episode broke me.
This one
And
really
I
broke
was
me.
not expecting it right then.
So yeah. I wanna
They step out
I'll
of the
tell you where
time.
I'll
They
go.
step out of the time prison to be immediately. They step out of the time door to face a contingent of TVA soldiers led by a Ravana who looks betrayed. And when they were in Ravana's office, Ravana was trying to be casual and trying to get past the whole thing. And she asked Mobius, if you could go anywhere and any time during the sacred timeline, where would you go? And Mobius dodged the question because he didn't see the point. It wasn't anything that you could actually do. And in his mind at that point in time, he's still playing up this idea that he's always been here, and it like, why would it matter? I'm always going to be here, and then until my job is done, and then nothing. But then, as Mobius comes out of the portal and he's trying to play up the act, he quickly, you could see like the energy just fall out of him, and he's like, you know what? If I could go anywhere, I would like to go to wherever I was before the TVA. And you know what? I bet I had a jet ski. I bet I would be riding that jet ski.
And cut.
And,
They killed
and
him.
Ravana says, prune it. And Ravana says, prune him, and the soldier just immediately stabs him. It hurt my fucking chest.
Yeah, I was like, no. I had a little tear. I was like, no. That's my dog. How you gonna do Owen Wilson like that? Granted, I still think he's gonna come back. He's gonna come back somehow. I don't think he's done with this show.
There's honestly no guarantee. Let's be honest.
There's no guarantee, but I still think
so
he's coming back. He's coming back.
And the thing that kills me is this idea that she had a look on her face. Ravana had a look on her face like she was betrayed, but also that she was pissed and disgusted. So she ordered his death, but then wouldn't look at it, wouldn't watch when it was happening. It's like, oh, don't be disgusted now. You just destroyed a good man. Fuck you. Go to hell.
Look. See, I've been good about the cussing this episode. You going ham?
I know. So I'm like trying to be better.
So I think we finally if we finally go to the timekeepers with Sylvie and Loki, because they're supposed to get pruned.
They were still supposed to be executed before them.
Yeah.
And we got a bit of a tease early in the episode that they actually existed.
Oh yeah, the very
nobody actually. Was I the only one who actually had to turn on the subtitles because I couldn't understand what the fuck they were saying?
I always got subtitles on mine. Always keep them on.
I don't. I
keep them on because you never know somebody
speaking in English. I tend not to go with subtitles because I tend to get distracted in looking at the subtitles rather than paying attention to the picture. If it's like if I'm watching something foreign, then I can handle the subtitles. I'm working double time.
You gotta cross your eyes, man. You gotta be like, okay. But yeah, so they get brought to the timekeepers. And they talking mad trash. Be like, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
They were pissing me off, to be honest with you. I hate to do it, but the CG, that looked kind of.
I think that was on purpose, though. I actually think that was on purpose.
I hope it was, because of course, Hunter B-15 shows up, tries to defunct the whole.
She deactivates their neck bands, which they made sure to redisplay. Had you forgotten that the purpose of those devices, that they have tiny receiver to rewind a prisoner so that they can't do anything. But B-15 shows up, deactivates their collars, and then before throwing Sylvie her sword back, she repeats the mantra. She repeats the mantra of the TVA, but for a different purpose, like for all time, always. And then the fight ensues, and B-15 gets handled pretty quickly.
Yeah, I was about to say I don't remember what happened to her.
I'm actually worried about her too, because some people are saying that she was pruned right there, or that she was defeated, but we didn't see her pruned. But later in the scene, she's not where her body fell. So I'm kind of curious as to what happened to her.
See, I didn't even know she was part of the fight. I thought she hit the thing to release the collars and went back down the elevator and be like, "Yep, bye." That's what I thought.
She fought the two guys. She fought the two guys at the door, but she didn't get much more than like 2 parries before she got knocked out. So you got Ravana, you got some TVA agents all against Sylvie and Loki, and they handle the fight. Ravana gets knocked out by Sylvie, and then the timekeepers something like,
"What you gonna do?
It doesn't have to be this way. You're also a child of the sacred timeline." And she's like, "No," and then chucks her sword at the central timekeeper, beheading him immediately. To where immediately after the first one gets beheaded, the other two start laughing like those Muppets that are up in the rafters on the Muppet Show. Before they just go.
Well, Five Nights at Freddy's.
So just like I had been saying for a while, this is very much going to be a Wizard of Oz-esque moment. The timekeepers were fake; they were just figureheads. When the head comes down, and Loki stops Sylvie from continuing to attack the other ones, because he sees the sparks, the machinery, and the wires coming out of the neck of this giant frickin' head. And as Sylvie is about to collapse into despair again, Loki remembers what Mobius had said, and then tries to reestablish that connection that they started creating in the face of their doom, by trying to admit his feelings for Sylvie. And a lot of people have been interpreting that he loves her romantically, but I think it's entirely platonic, because he sees in Sylvie the kind of vocab word of the day. What I think it is that it's not so much that he loves Sylvie. It's that he sees the qualities in Sylvie that he wishes he had in himself, and he cares about her. He cares about her well-being. He wants better for her. That's platonic. It's not like he wants to fuck himself. Damn it. It's not like he wants to do himself. Save me with editing, please. And as he's having a difficult time to articulate this, which is so uncharacteristic for Loki, we get the third stab in our back. I think this is like the third arrow in Boromir. That's what that felt like.
At that point, I thought he would have kept going. But nah, they don't kill
As
Loki.
Ravana woke up in the mist on the ground, because somebody had the fog machines going overtime, and pruned Loki before Sylvie, before almost immediately being dispatched, and then trying to get that last victory, because Ravana had been such a asshole in the last 15 minutes, when they were in the elevator and Sylvie again facing her soon-to-be demise, just wanted to know what was the Nexus event that caused her timeline to have to be pruned and her to be taken from her home, and to twist the knife. Ravana goes, I don't remember. So now she strips the only person that Ravana would actually say is an actual friend that could understand her. So Sylvie defeats her almost immediately and goes, "Do it," as in wanting Sylvie to prune her because it's like, once I'm gone, you'll have nothing. And she goes, "No, you're going to tell me everything." And then it cuts to her name is. It cuts to the credits with one of the best goddamn songs. You gotta love the production values in these shows, man. Brenda Lee's "If You Love Me." It's almost like the hurt of Loki dying again. That song just pulled those wounded heartstrings for a solid like 2 minutes. Now, granted, I saw this as the Asian dude from The Walking Dead.
Okay.
It hurt for me, not because I actually thought Loki was dead. I figured he was underneath the dumpster because it just doesn't make sense to spend all that time with a character that we've already had to deal with this on several occasions to once again do it, especially when there's a couple episodes left. If Loki died on the 6th episode, I might believe he was actually dead, but not here. But what made it hurt was what that meant for Sylvie. Sylvie definitely thinks he's dead, and I feel sad for her. But if you lasted throughout the song, because in these Marvel shows they like to sneak mid-credit scenes. They won't do a mid-credit scene for every episode, just the one you're not expecting. But
Well,
if you
you
waited
saved
long
for one.
enough, through that song, that heart-wrenching song, Tom Hiddleston as Loki wakes up. He's on the ground.
This is hell.
And he's wondering, is this hell? Hel, the Norse hell? Am I dead? And there's a voice off screen says, "No, but if you don't come with us, you will be." As he stands up, the camera switches over,
with the
and we
epic
got
music.
4 Lokis. 4 Lokis, and I promise you, I was literally like in my chair, and I saw like, "Ah!" like think like what was that shit? What was it? The dude from the fat guy from Jump Street.
Jonah Hill.
Yes,
He's not fat
remember
anymore.
that? No, he's not. No, but he'll live in my memories that way. Remember that movie where Jonah Hill got like stabbed with adrenaline, with pure adrenaline? That was me. That was totally me. Getting up out of my chair, I was like, "Oh my god! Oh shit!"
See, while I'm sitting there like, I don't
lost my mind.
like all I'm thinking is like, okay, these are other variant Lokis in this whatever place he's in. So,
well, that's the thing. We people had seen it in the trailers and assumed that this was going to be like there were already guesstimations, because if you looked at this at the backdrop, that's a destroyed New York. There's a destroyed Avengers Tower back there, and so people assumed that in the course of the show that was going to deal with alternate timelines. That was a timeline from the trailer where the Avengers lost the Battle of New York. That Loki, the Chitauri, and Thanos actually won. But let's just address those Lokis real quick, because if you allow the credits to go by, we actually get titles for them, not particularly names, but titles. The one on the far right, played by oh my god,
I don't need to know who if he's getting played by. I just need to know who they are.
well, he's a veteran actor, and I wish I could remember his name right now.
Got him in the like OG Loki costume.
Yeah. That's classic Loki. That's the Loki as he appeared in like the 70s comics. We got Richard E. Grant is the classic Loki on the right. In the center, we have a kid who's playing as Kid Loki, and what I love about it is that not only does his costume look comic book accurate, even his hair does. In most pictures you see of Kid Loki, he has one of these tight hoods up that keeps his hair down. But if you ever saw him with that down, his hair has that short crop kind of curl to it. On the left, though, is the curveball, in the same way that Heimdall was played by Idris Elba. This is a Loki that just happens to be black, which is cool because it's a variant. It can be any sort of thing. Like we saw Troll Loki, but the specific Loki he is, a fan theory that I think is correct, is that he is from a storyline called Axis. In the comics, there's this big event where the Red Skull, after Charles Xavier died in the event prior, the Red Skull actually dug up his body and then took a portion of his brain and implanted it on his own. So it's the Red Skull with the powers of Xavier. And he uses those abilities to swap the minds. In the course of the events, the Avengers are trying to take him down. He uses that ability to start turning heroes evil. And
Loki, Thor becomes evil, Loki becomes good, and he's all of a sudden, let me guess, worthy.
Yes.
Yeah, I saw the hammer. Come on, man. I saw the hammer.
Yeah, no. He's basically what happens is, like, in order the only way they could figure out how to defeat him, because Charles Xavier is like one of the most powerful telepaths, is that Rogue figured out by trying to touch Red Skull and sap the power from him, that there is actually a fragment of Charles Xavier's consciousness on the inside. So the sorcerers tried, like Doctor Strange and Wanda, try to cast a spell that'll swap their personalities, and it goes awry, and it causes everyone's personalities to swap, including all the heroes that were present and all the villains that were present. So Sabretooth, Deadpool becomes a pacifist. He has a black and white outfit. Sabretooth becomes a good guy along with Mystique and such. Loki goes from being the god of lies to being the god of honesty. And Thor, becoming evil, loses his worthiness to wield Mjolnir. And in order to try and defeat his brother and also to remove him from the final battlefield, Loki lures him to where Thor lost his hammer, and then attempts to pick up the hammer and becomes Loki the Worthy. He has this whole golden armored outfit, and it's actually able to wield the hammer and defeat Thor that way. So I'm thinking that this Loki that in the credits is referred to as the boastful Loki, because he's the honest Loki and can't stop talking, can't stop dropping like his honest feelings. I'm expecting that is him. The other funny thing is that I probably wouldn't have put this together. I thought of it, but it didn't necessarily click with me. The crocodile with the Loki.
Yeah,
helmet.
I say I didn't notice it until I watched it again. What the fuck has he got that crocodile down there for? Said his pet, and I was like, wait a minute.
It's another Loki.
It's another Loki, because apparently, because I like to do research too, John. Wasn't there a frog Thor?
Yes. An alligator Loki was never something from the comics, but having it in here is a reference to Throg. There's this whole storyline where, like, Mjolnir chips and a frog picks a intelligent, like, technically, I guess, mutant frog, picks up the fragment of Mjolnir, happens to be worthy, and is transformed into the mighty Throg. He's actually one of the pet Avengers. And
not gonna
what would be a frog's enemy? An alligator. Sure, whatever. Fine.
I don't know. We'll see.
It's like, you think he's a log, but he's lying. He's an alligator.
Yeah. We'll find out in the next episode, because I want to know where the fuck. Oh, I finally cussed. I want to know where this is going.
Well, there's a theory in the fan base right now that, like, we've talked about the concept of Secret Wars and Battle World. That's where we think this whole multiverse thing is going to be ending up. That the big, like, Infinity War Endgame event is going to be Battle World. But now that we know that pruning might not be the end, at least not for Loki, we're thinking maybe this will be Battle World. Maybe every time they prune a timeline, a fragment of it is coalesced into this one world that everyone that gets pruned is just dumped off on, like a planet-sized jail. I'm right there with you, man. I'm really curious because if you think about it, there's still a bunch of things that were in the trailer that we have yet to see, like Loki in his
vote
for
for
Loki
yeah.
outfit, which is from the comics where Loki tries to become president. I'm really curious. I'm right there with you. And if Mobius could be alive, I'd be so happy. I'd be so happy.
Look, he's breaking down right now. I'm so happy.
It hurts. It hurts. It hurts my soul. The man just wanted a jet ski. Give that man a goddamn jet ski.
Wow.
Wow. Anyway, I thought this episode was absolutely amazing. If anyone, yourself included, was feeling that the series so far had been kind of meandering,
No. But I say, like, I love the first 2 episodes. To me, for right now, you know, we still got 2 episodes left. Episode 3, not my favorite. The one we just watched, loved it. As far as IGN is concerned, I don't know who the hell's reviewing over there. You know, we're not going to go deep into that conversation because I don't know why.
Just to give context, whoever did the review for this episode of Loki gave it a 5. Now let's also put into context that IGN reviewers, not the same guy who did the review for this episode of Loki, but in general, IGN gave Fast 9 an 8.5, and they gave this episode a 5. Freaking kidding me. Granted, it's all a part of a pattern that we've seen before. Like, if you ever looked at IGN's reviews for the Falcon and the Winter Soldier show, every episode got fairly low scores. So it's not that surprising.
Yeah,
it's just,
well, I'm just more shocked on what they had to say about the I sent you the link or the picture.
Yeah.
That shocked me. I'm like, yo, how did you even put this on your page without not?
Yeah.
About to say, I'm thinking, you know, somebody
they invented problems that did not exist with this episode.
Yeah, about to say, like, short reference, they basically made the TVA sound like they were Nazis hunting queers. Granted, that's not what this is, and and the way they, from my eyes, because I support, you know, the whatever LGBTQ, whatever
alphabet army,
the alphabet, alphabet cereal. Damn, bring that back. So yeah, I mean,
let's get away from IGN real quick, because fuck whoever did that review, and I'm sorry for cursing.
Yeah, I'm about to say we'll cut this out anyway. We'll cut it out. Let's just go ahead and wrap it up.
One thing I want to talk about, because it's in the zeitgeist of the fan base right now. Does Loki love Sylvie, like, romantically? And is that narcissism? I don't think it is. I actually think it's quite the I agree with the sentiment that it's actually quite the opposite of narcissism. If anything, it's opening Loki to love somebody, because first you have to love yourself in a hokey, abstract sort of way.
I don't know, man.
You can't love someone else if you can't love yourself. What do you think? Don't worry, you can cut all this dead space.
I will, because I'll be like, he just wants some buzz.
No.
I think he.
I feel like
I think he.
That interpretation, I feel like, cheapens the emotion, the emotional moments that we got at the top of this episode and at the end throughout the 3rd episode.
I really think he really. I wouldn't say necessarily
cares for her.
Not necessarily loves, but he cares for her. Like, you know, this is, you know, somebody he can relate with, you know, and not to feel alone.
Yeah. Okay, well, I don't even want to give this episode a review. I loved it so much, or like a score, because I loved it so much. But I imagine your feelings are vaguely the same. This is just a great episode.
Oh man, I'm gonna give this a 5 out of 10.
Beyond scoring.
Nah.
Yeah. So, we've gone on for way too long, and it's mostly my fault. But so let's go ahead and wrap it up here. If you've seen the episode, please go ahead and drop a comment down below as to what you thought of it. Hit that like button. Do you think that Loki is in love with Sylvie? Do you think it's like a symptom of his narcissism, or do you think it's something more than that? Go ahead and hit that bell notification so you know the next time we pop in on a video. Black Widow's right around the corner. We got a couple other things coming out. Like I don't know if Roy, have you seen the trailer for this new movie coming out on Netflix called Gunpowder Milkshake?
No.
The name is very random, but it's got
Yeah.
a lot of the name is very random, but it's very Kill Billy sort of feel to it. It's got a lot of great female actresses just kicking a lot of ass, like Michelle Yeoh, like Lena Headey from Game of Thrones. It looks great.
You got
So
me on that
hopefully we
one.
can get a review for that.
Wait,
It's going to be coming out
yeah,
on Netflix
man.
later this month, so hopefully we can get a review out for that. But till then, my name is Azzy. That's been Roy. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you all next time. Peace.
Deuces.
Work your Loki. Work your Loki. That ought to be my mantra.